I'm Max. I'm a Play Partner Manager based in Berlin. And what I do in day-to-day interactions is talk to app developers. Could you just reset the notes, please? Talk to app developers about their engagement strategies across the sort of whole device ecosystem that is emerging. And certainly it's true that at the moment, the hub of your interactions with your customers is the smartphone. But what we're seeing is a whole ecosystem of smart and connected devices that are sort of coming to the fore, like smart TVs, smartwatches, smart cars, and they're creating new avenues for user interactions. The sort of growth that we're seeing in beacon deployments, it's still in the early stages, but it's going to get bigger, as well as the growth of the Internet of Things, will create new opportunities for you to interact with your users in the physical world. We've seen this slide before, just from Matteo's presentation, but I think what it does, it captures the point really well. For you as developers, it's a key challenge to find strategies that take advantage of the growing connected device ecosystem. And what we've seen across categories of apps is that frequent, regular interactions with your app build loyal audiences and increase your chances of building long-term customers or long-term relationship with your users. So what I want to do today is look at how you can build smart interaction strategies for the multi-device contextual world. So, sorry, I'm not in the spotlight. So in this sort of more complex world, developers are asking or finding new answers to their questions. So how do I personalize and tailor interactions with my users? How do I take advantages of these new device classes that are emerging, and how do I build a good interaction strategy around it? And how do I enable users to interact with others and the world around them? So in the next 20 minutes or so, we'll talk about how Google can help you with those, or finding good answers to those questions and building a good strategy. So let's start with tailored interactions. So this chart is for the US only, but it holds true for many European countries as well. So think about this for a minute. Next year, 60% of your app users on their smartphone will also be able to use your app on their tablets. I think that's quite a staggering figure. So what that means for your services or for your apps, for your products that depend on logging in users to deliver a personalized content or services or to track the value of your advertising channel, is that you basically need to find a way to provide your users with a seamless login experience across all the devices that they're using. And Google can help you with that. I want to introduce you to SmartLock for Passwords today. It's a lightweight API for Android and Chrome that basically stores the login information your users use on web and in Android. So it remembers whether they use their email and password, or whether they might have used Google Sign-In or Facebook to authenticate themselves in your app. And if they do that on the web, SmartLock for Passwords will do the same on Android. And the credentials that the users enter will sync seamlessly in the background across all the devices where the user is logged in. So across Android smartphones, tablets, and Chrome. So let's see what it can actually do. So if you have a web presence and you have a user that's authenticated previously on the web, but now installs your app for the first time, they won't see a login screen or a prompt to enter their password, but they will be signed in automatically. So what we're seeing is with the launch partners that we have out there, is that instantly they're signing in 10% of their audience on Android just because they have built up a big signed-in user base on web. If multiple accounts are registered, SmartLock for Passwords will ask the user, hey, do you want to sign in with your Gmail account or with your Hotmail account? And so what that means for you is that as users are moving between platforms or between devices, they'll have no sign-in prompts, you'll have no drop-off, and you'll have instant personalization in your apps. So you also will encounter the situation where a user will sign up for the first time. And when they create an account in your app, a prompt will appear and ask the user to save their password, or if they want to log in with Google, it will remember that choice and make that available if they use your app on a tablet or on the web. And about 50 to 60% of users say yes to that option when prompted, and we think we can do even better with some UX improvements in that sort of prompt flow. And what we've seen is one of the launch partners was Orbitz, and they've seen a 5% increase in the overall signed-in users on Android just by having that prompt appear. So once you've kind of identified your users on all the different devices and made it easy for them to authenticate themselves as they move between devices, I want to talk a little bit about notifications as a key user interaction strategy and the tools that we have available to help. So we've seen that notifications are a key tool to make sure that users keep coming back. But to really have a material impact on engagement, you need to ask yourself a couple of important questions to kind of formulate your notification strategy. So you need to have a key objective. So what this developer is doing, Share the Meal, the key objective is to solicit a donation. So when they send you a notification, they want you to go into the app and donate. They're also trying to figure out the context of the notification and the timing. So here the context is you get a notification at breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and then the timing would be, or the frequency would be, once a week, once a month, once a day even. And then what you also need to figure out, once you kind of have those questions answered, is to say, how can I target users that fall into these different groups for notifications? And also you need to think about sort of what technical resources you want to invest to actually implement your notification strategy. And Google Cloud Messaging is a free notification service from Google that actually helps you deliver your world-class notification strategies. So it's fit for all use cases. You can send it to use it to send messages, to do background syncing, to implement messaging use cases. You can enable cross-device platform messaging. So if someone likes your photo somewhere, you get a notification on all your devices. The value is that it's built on Google infrastructure and it's reliable under high message load, so you don't have to worry about not reaching your users when it's critical. It also keeps power consumption down, which is great because your app doesn't have to pull your servers, and it basically reduces engineering complexity for you as you're implementing your strategy. And the great thing is it's free, and it has any features that are out of betas, don't have any caps or restrictions on usage. One key feature I want to highlight, it's a little logo missing, so this is the Cloud Messaging logo here. One feature that's new and that was a highly asked for feature is the topic messaging. So, there it is. So what you can do is you can assign users to topics. So first what you do is you create a topic list, say call it app marketing, and then you can automatically assign users to that list. So you have a list of devices that subscribe to that topic, Or you can actively ask users to sign in. So you can have a little question, are you an app marketing manager or something like that? And then you can send a message to Google simply saying, there's a new open beta on topic messaging, and send it to the topic app marketing. And you don't have to worry about all your subscription management anymore, because all of that is taken care of by Google. And the great thing about that is that you have a fast and efficient way to implement subscriptions. At the moment, this is still in beta, so there's a cap of 1 million subscribers per app. So we've covered the tailored interaction piece. Now I want to move on to the how to extend your interaction strategies to other devices. So starting with phones and tablets and going to TVs and wearables and cars, Android is expanding. Android and Play provide you with a platform, but these platforms really come to life and create value for users with the apps that you as developers build. So now, this is still a very new field, so it's a great time to think about how you can tailor your interaction strategies to these new devices and platforms. So I'm really, and we're all really excited to see what you come up with. Talking about Wear, there are really 3 use cases that, in order of sort of integration work and complexity, that you can do to drive users of the Wear platform and of our smartwatches back into your app and to interact with them. So notifications is great because mostly notifications already work out of the box. If you have if you have optimized your notifications for Android, then they already work on Wear. If you've enhanced your notifications with action buttons, then those actions automatically work on Wear. And there's great Wear-specific enhancements that you can do, like stacks, pages, and voice replies. Watch faces are also great because they give you or your brand or your app really prominent space on the wrist of the user and on the most glanced at real estate on their very personal device. So what you can do is you can push relevant updates from your app into the watch face, which is great. And then on the most complex spectrum, you have apps. So you can build these apps, and they run on the Wear device, and they can do almost anything that a smartphone app can do. So they are equipped. They can use the sensors on the Wear device. And we'll go into a little bit into the use cases. So enabling great Wear experiences. We haven't stopped innovating as we launched Wear last year. We've actually made great improvements. So one of the key things I want to highlight is the always-on functionality. So basically, it allows your app to be on in the foreground, drawing very little energy and updating at longer intervals, so maybe every 10 seconds. And so for example, running apps can show the distance that you've traveled, or you can it can show you your boarding gate as you walk into the airport without using too much energy and drawing down the power of the wearable. And another thing that we've launched is the watch face. So it's interactive watch faces. So basically, you can tap on watch faces, on custom designed watch faces, to show other content or more relevant content. So you can tap on a watch face and tap the calendar button and see your agenda for the day without actually going into the app. So, and we've also launched other upgrades. So for example, we're allowing apps to use Wi-Fi when you're away from the phone. That's great. You can use the onboard GPS, so that's great for running apps. And you can access actually the Maps API, and you can have great mapping experience on the Wear device. And we also have iOS support now. So here's some great examples. One is The Guardian, which is it taking long time to load. The Guardian notifies you of the latest news directly on your watch. So if you're actually interested in that piece of news, you can make a note of it and have it saved later for for reading on your phone. Citymapper has a great use case where it shows you how to get from A to B in most major cities. And with Always On, it saves energy while you're sort of commuting around London. And American Airlines has a great use case where all your flight information is available on your wrist, which is great if you don't want to keep getting out your smartphone because you forgot what seat you're sitting in, and you're also carrying some luggage. WhatsApp is really great because they've enhanced their Wear app so that you sometimes don't even have to open your phone anymore. You can reply right from your wrist. And then obviously fitness, I was talking about that before. You can have the always on mode and always see as you're running how far you've run and how much time you've spent running. And then for travel, that should say music, Spotify lets you seamlessly browse your playlist. So if you're at home and you've got your phone plugged on, you're walking around, you can press play and you can control your music from the comfort of your couch without having to get up and getting your phone. I'm going to talk a little bit about our TV experiences as well. So we've got Google Cast and Android TV. Firstly, Cast is a technology that lets you cast wirelessly from your favorite entertainment apps on phone, tablet, or websites on a computer to your TV or speakers. So we have a really strong presence with Cast. We've sold over 17 million devices globally, and you can buy Cast in 26 countries from 35,000 stores. And this is a really mobile platform, so it aligns well with consumer trends. And what we're seeing is that we're seeing a 60% year-on-year growth of per device usage, and already 22,000 apps support Cast. Android TV is designed for a different use case. It's more for a, call it lean back experience. So you're just sitting on your sofa and you don't already know what you want to watch, but you just want to switch on your smart TV. And our goal there is to create an experience where you basically discover new media content while you're sitting in your living room. Some of the partners that we have are TV vendors such as Sony, Philips, and Grundig. And we're also working with over-the-top boxes and gaming consoles. So we've got Nexus devices, NVIDIA, Huawei, and Razer devices out there, because it's also a great gaming platform. So for Cast, how it works technically is that you've got Cast for audio and video. You've also got games for Google Cast, so you can build great HTML5 games. And you can, another use case is to extend your apps or your app user experience to a second screen, so you can have a dual screen experience. With Android TV and the lean-back libraries that we have, we're asking you to create a catalog browser to provide a card view and detailed background playing cards. So if someone's watching a program in your app and switches out of your app, it still keeps playing in the background. What's really important on Android TV is that you make it easy for users to discover your content. So we advise that you make your content searchable, your app searchable, and also to enable searching while the user is inside your app, which is very important as well to surface the right content. I also want to talk about Android Auto a little bit. We're sort of having a slow start with Android Auto, but we're already live with VW, Seat, and Skoda, and then Audi is coming soon. Also, GM brands such as Vauxhall is announced for early 2016. And in Europe, you can buy Pioneer aftermarket upgrades for Android Auto, or users can buy aftermarket upgrades. And we know that other manufacturers, so we've signed up 28 manufacturers, are coming soon to also offer Android Auto experiences. So if you have apps in the messaging space or in the music space, now is a really great time to kind of build a footprint there. I also want to quickly mention Cardboard. What it does is it basically makes it easy for developers to build virtual reality experiences into their mobile apps by offering an open source toolkit that kind of takes care of a lot of common VR tasks that you're faced with such as dealing with lens distortion corrections and head tracking. So that's a great way to extend the user interactions with your apps to different platforms and emerging devices. Lastly, I want to talk a little bit about how your apps can interact with the world around them and how users can interact with other users around them. So, let's talk a little bit about the Nearby Proximity API first. This is a new technology that was recently released by Google that basically allows you to build beautiful experiences that lets your users discover each other when they're close by, or to discover beacons when they're close by. So there are two components: nearby messages. So that means devices that are close by can exchange messages easily, such as editing something, maybe a whiteboard in a room, or forming a group or voting on something, or broadcasting resources. And there's also nearby connections, which lets devices on the same network discover each other, and then it's used in multiplayer gaming. And the cool thing about the Nearby Proximity API is that it's available for iOS, Android, and also for interacting with beacon devices. And it doesn't require you to sign in your users, which is great as well. And it also lets you concentrate on the actual use cases that you want to implement, and Google handles the rest. So we communicate with other devices via Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and also by inaudible sounds that are picked up by devices, but not humans. What we've seen, we've got some really nice showcase implementations. So we have eDJing, which have a cool new case for playlist voting. So the DJ publishes their playlists, and the listeners can vote on what song they want to hear next. We have Pocket Casts, where basically two people or more can publish the podcasts that they're subscribed to, and then you can pick out podcasts that might be interesting to you and subscribe to them as well. And Trello shares project boards, basically, that are nearby, so you can subscribe to a project board from someone who's, for example, in this room. So that's really a great technology to interact with people and other users that are in your apps and get them to engage more with your product. I also want to mention beacons. So basically, rather poetically, think of beacons as kind of lighthouses that are somewhere in the, attached to physical objects or somewhere in the room, and they provide a precise location and contextual clues to apps that want to use them. So, for example, we could label a bus stop with beacons, so your phone knows to have show you the times when the next bus arrives, or to have the ticket ready. Or we can have a museum that has a beacon attached to an exhibit and provide additional information or background information to an exhibit. The way that Google helps you with this kind of interaction is we have the Google Beacon platform, and it's comprised basically of three parts. You've got the low-cost beacon devices that have to comply with our hardware specifications, so that we know that they will work with our APIs. We have the Eddystone format that is the beacon format. It's an open source format made by Google that basically defines three payloads. You can have a device identifier, which provide context to your apps so that you can engage with them, so you can build interactive experiences on top of them. Beacons, the Eddystone beacons, can broadcast compressed URLs, so you can launch experiences you can launch a deep link right into the app where it matters. And they also broadcast telemetry data, so it will tell you the temperature in the beacon whether it's moving, things like that. So you can build experiences around that. And then we also have the Proximity Beacon API, which allows you to register fleets of beacons and manage them remotely, so that you don't have to go to every beacon that you have installed and make sure that they're still running and have enough battery left. The last thing I want to get into is kind of provide a little look at the future, what's out there, what we're working on, and that's Brillo and Weave. We're trying to take the next steps after beacons and really enable the Internet of Things. So Brillo is really the Android platform for your connected devices. So they're basically our standards so that they're easy to set up and they talk to each other the way they should. And Brillo, think of it as basically the operating system of the Internet of Things. Weave is the Internet of Things protocol on top of that. It provides seamless and secure communications between your devices, so not just between your smartphone and an Internet of Things device, but also between devices themselves. And it's also integrated into Google Play, so that right from the start, Android app developers can start building beautiful applications on top of that. And it will make sure that all the devices are interoperable. And there's a certification program in place to make sure that all the standards are kept. That brings me to the end. So thank you very much for your interest. I hope the path that I wanted to take you on was clear. So we have the tailored interactions for the platforms that are really well established now and are core to your business. Then we have the emerging platforms like Wear and Smart TVs and Chromecast and Cardboard that are also important to think about to really make sure you're reaching your users where it matters. And then going beyond that, the connected world, the beacons, and the Internet of Things, where it's really important to start thinking about how you're going to reach your users there and how to make sure they come back into your app. So thank you very much.